Not even a countdown?
We never count down. That's my permanent nightmare. I was like, I feel like I was picking my nose. But anyway, welcome, everyone. I know we were starting a little bit late tonight. We unfortunately do not have our good friend Alex, a.k.a. Timber, with us tonight. He is off on a cycling trip on the West Coast. So Timber will be autopiloted today, and we are working our best with the technical side because Alex is usually our technical producer. So Tim is taking over tonight, so you can direct all hate mail about any technical issues to @UnduranBoy on Twitter. Welcome, everyone, to Paradice tonight. As always, our audio is provided by a combination of Sirenscape, Tabletop Audio, and some of our music is licensed through the service Soundstripe. If you're interested in any of those, please check them out. They're great for your own games or other endeavors that require audio. I don't think there's any other announcements tonight. We'll just switch it over to Shannon for her social media segment, and we'll jump into it tonight. We have a lot of fun stuff to get into based on last week's episode with the interviews, so I want to jump in as soon as possible. So Shannon, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, so I am going to shout out 3 actual play podcasts this week. The first one I would like to shout out is Curious Goods 20. You guys have been really supportive, and I love that you are promoting yourselves and you are just letting everybody know what you do. So really nice to get to know you guys. Keep up the awesome work. Next podcast I'd like to shout out is Rollin' in the Geek. They have been so kind and supportive on Twitter, and their content is it's awesome. So make sure you check them out. And last but not least, I would like to shout out Miss Rolled, another fabulous actual play podcast that has been so kind and supportive. And Tim and I are actually going to play a one-shot with them in March. And we are so excited. I think I'm going Barbarian for that one, which I've never played before. So
and I'm
very excited for that.
Bard.
Oh, yay. Yeah. That's going to be so fun. I want to give just a really quick special shout out to D&D Nerd 4, who made our very first piece of fan art. And it is a lovely, lovely depiction of our cleric, Kieran. He tweeted it. I retweeted it. It's all over our place somewhere. So make sure you go check it out because he did such an awesome job. So thank you, D&D Nerd 4, for giving us our first piece of fan art. That's it. I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much, Shannon, as always, for spreading the love in that way. All right. So let's get right into it tonight. One day we'll have an opening roll here. All right. So I'm going to keep the previously on short because I feel like these folks got a lot to talk about. So we can jump right into it. Oh, lovely. Looks like we got a very active chat, which is always exciting for a session. All right. So the last we left off, you had returned to Maginset with the medicine that you had secured from the Bracken Hill Tower, Archdruid Orland's
Hashtag Bracken.
tower. Hashtag Bracken. You had delivered this medicine, and on the way back after delivering the medicine, you had encountered bandits at a farmhouse where you were successfully able to rescue the folks who were being attacked by the bandits, killing 2 bandits in the process. Although around 6 or 7 bandits had escaped, laughing jovially at the pain of their victims on a cart full of their, what likely last bit of their supplies from the winter. Upon returning to town, you delivered the goods and you took a nice deserved rest. The next morning, Curon and Timber both went to the Circle of the Ash to assist the Druidess Wyla in concocting the potion that would help ease the villagers' plague. Timber rolled real well, so that potion was real good. And Curon demonstrated his great bedside manner and administering the potion to the sick villagers alongside McClare. Timber was also able to pocket 4 doses for yourselves in case you were ever to get sick or suffer from some disease. During this time, Wiswick was able to examine the book that you once found long ago in the longhouse of the Circle of Ash that contained, or the longhouse in the center of town, that contained several different languages, all talking about the Pallid King or the King in Yellow. He was able to decipher that the languages were written by different people who had found this book throughout history, some supporters, some detractors, some just neutrally studying, and he was able to discern several key details about whatever mysterious god or cult the Archdruid had been involved in, or this mask was involved in. But after that, you reconvened to walk over to the barracks to meet with the general for your long-awaited interviews, where you attempted some strategy as you approached over getting your story straight and potentially who was going to deliver, and if you were going to deliver the mask to the general. The interviews took place. They had varying levels of success. Wiswick was able to somewhat overwhelm the general with his behavior, with his flustered responses and his Zverneblin charm, successfully avoiding really answering much to the general, other than sort of answering who had the mask, and sort of answering, implying that Kieran was bad at lying. And but as soon as Wiswick left his meeting, he was able to send his familiar bat jet out to the window to attempt to listen in on his compatriots' interviews. So potentially the only one who is able to hear anything else anyone said. Cal went up next, where after what one might call a verbal spar, the general was able to deduce, or had already deduced, Cal's true identity as Callus Stormrain, the lost son of the rulers of Stormrain in Honduras. And then Cal demonstrated his usefulness to the general at that point, or at least rhetorically demonstrated his usefulness. The general warned him that undergoing such endeavors and becoming such a servant to the general could potentially mean becoming a ghost of who he used to be, which Cal already kind of is, so win-win kind of for him. Next up, he had a conversation with Kieran, where Kieran was able to answer many of his questions with questions himself, which noticeably unnerved the general during the meeting, and he was much more interested in finding out about Alicia and why Kieran was here, particularly ending the interview with asking if it was true that the leader of the Elysian elves, was truly immortal. Kieran responding, there is a woman in white claiming to be Queen Ayla in Elysia, and that's all he knows. Next, he spoke with Timber, who similarly threw him off in that conversation, which led towards more of Timber asking about a mysterious organization known as the Highland Syndicate, but also asking about the general also asking him about how he came about his lycanthropy, which Timber revealed that all he knows is that he was knocked unconscious on his way home when traveling, and some creatures performed this ritual on him in the Gosuru Nation. The final interview was with Scarlet, where I'd say there was a less graceful verbal spar than with Cal, where he was able to extract from her past criminal history, or at least some of the details of her past criminal history, and ask her some perplexing questions, particularly in reference to a William Mason, and particularly in reference to the Crimson Court. And then towards the end, also questioned her about the killing of the guard that had happened a few days prior when the mask had gone missing. Now, who knows what his purposes in probing these questions were. They clearly had an effect on Scarlet. He closed his interview with her by informing her that someone was operating under the name Bloodraven, which she was supposedly going to be taking up that name when she was a member of the Crimson Court. After these interviews, Wiswick was able to get some spells from the general. He's nothing but persistent.
Very true.
The general was able to get the mask from Timber with several warnings from Timber about how to handle it, specifically mentioning its effects, the way it affected Wiswick when he tried to cast Identify on it. The general had him place it in what looked like a lead or iron box, and then closed it. The entirety of your interviews were the general had Captain Domhnall there taking notes. He had his 2 captains from Oxland there as well. You reconvened outside. You shared very little since you all seemed a bit overwhelmed by your own interviews. You returned to Lord Harrison's hall, where you at first separated. You still have some time during this day if you want to reconvene, because it's not too late in the day. There's still it's probably around 4:30. Interestingly, also, I didn't mention, but Cal had a conversation with Lord Harrison earlier in the day where he seemed very dejected and all but begged Cal to give good word for him and with the general. But having gone through these interviews and supper time approaching, what would you all like to do?
I would say we should probably reconvene. I feel like the only reason we didn't is because we were all like, mentally, for some reason, we were like, it's 10 p.m. So I would like to acquire my friends.
I think I'm invisible, and I think I ran away.
Yes, because...
wait, what? I don't remember.
Oh, wait. Yeah, at the end, Wiswick had nonchalantly essentially just said everything he heard, or said some very sensitive things he heard. And he said to Scarlet, it was like, who's William Mason or something, and then Scarlet got very mad.
Whoa, I wasn't that crazy. I said, I heard everybody's stories. I was listening in.
Oh.
The only person I didn't get was Timber, and then as soon as I started getting interrogated by Scarlet, I immediately went invisible and ran away.
Yes, you didn't actually state anything you heard, but Scarlet got real mad, almost grabbed you, but you scampered off. That's actually exactly where we ended. You guys were walking back, and you are all together. Wiswick has just scampered off into the distance, completely invisible.
One of these days.
Wiswick is heading back to his room. He's planning on getting his story straight and sitting and pondering about what has just happened and giving himself a breather before reuniting with everyone.
Well, I'd say you don't get too far ahead of them. I'd say you really, as long as they keep walking, you have 5 minutes.
He has little legs. His legs are so little. All right, so as we're walking then, I'm going to be like, so, how did that go for everyone?
Not great. How about you?
I'm confident. But
Are you?
Yeah. What
Did he
happened?
buy your story about caffeine?
No. But
Mine
I rather expected he wouldn't,
As did I.
to be frank with you. So are we, how bad do we think? Do we think this is like a we got to get out of here situation, or do we think this is like a
I think we should leave meat.
Oh, that bad?
Yes, that bad.
Okay. Q?
Well, I have nothing to fear. The general simply asked me about other people. Of course, I don't know if there's much left for me here, though I would like to help the Satyr, Mandric, back to his home. I should get those gems back from Wiswick so that the Mandric can return to his tower. But otherwise, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Do we know how Wiswick's... Actually, Timber, how did yours go? The part of Timber will be played by Sean O'Donovan.
Fine. And he turns into a wolf.
Das wie done, yeah.
It went fine. And then he turned back and he turns into a wolf.
And he will remain a wolf the entire session.
All right, look, I think running's the wrong choice. And here is why. He knew pretty much exactly who I was and what was going to happen, and he knew most of the things. I think running at this point is not... It's not our best option, because if if he has that much information and can reach that far out, he's going to be able to find us anywhere if he wants to. You know what I mean?
That is exactly why we need to leave. He knows everything about us. He knows about the mask. He knows we didn't find it in the swamp. He does.
He doesn't know shit about the mask.
No,
Look,
he does.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
He doesn't.
If I may...
Were you there?
I was.
You were not there.
Wouldn't he have arrested us?
I haven't ruled it out yet. I think he's making us sweat.
Well, then we'll run then. You know what I mean? My
Fun
point
fact, Elysian elves don't sweat. Is
Oh,
that
really?
lore canon? No? Okay, never mind.
No, not the time.
Q, did you just lie to us?
He's incapable.
Right, yeah, sorry. Anyway.
So the party believes that Elysians don't sweat.
I don't know then. No, I don't think we should run, because I think
So then what do you propose we do?
forge ahead. We forge an
Where?
alliance with this man, and that way we are
That is
scot-free.
the last thing that I want.
What? What's the worst that could happen?
And I start walking back to where I'm done with this conversation.
Well, Q.
Head in the town, cute on and Cal.
Do you have some, you got any feelings about this?
Not really. I simply wait for the next divine guidance of Iluvania to let me know where I should be next. Until then, I'm content to stay here.
So I have a question. What form does that divine guidance take? Is it like birds or moon stuff? Or is there like a direct, like, go here?
It varies. Sometimes it's less birds and moons and more of like a feeling, if you will. I like to think that the people I meet, the things that happen for a reason. I clearly met you for a reason, and we clearly have gone on these adventures for a reason. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a skeptic, to be honest, but sure. And I throw an arm around his shoulders and we keep walking.
Okay. Wiswick, you have a few seconds. Is there anything you want to do when you get to the Lord Harrison's manor?
I go into my room, I lock my door, I write a little note, and I slide it under the bottom of the door.
What does your little note say?
If you have questions for me, I'll answer them one at a time. Love Wiswick.
Wiswick, while you're in that room, you had mentioned pre-stream that you wanted to do a few checks on things that you overheard. Let's do that now.
Okay, I'd like to see if I ever heard of the name or place, I think, Storm Rain. Callus said that was his true last name. And I would also like to see if I know anything about the Lady of the Court, or as you called it, the Crimson Court. And also the name William Mason.
Okay, so give me a history check for each of those.
Okay, so I will do them in the order I just said them.
Scarlet, you mentioned, I've refreshed my memory, when you told the party about your scar and you had Wiswick inspected, did you tell them about the Crimson Court?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think she did either.
I don't think you mentioned
and,
it.
And I don't think
mentioned
anybody
before
asked
after
about
you.
it. Yeah, and that was the first time Timber had seen it either. I didn't talk about it with him before.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this would be the first time anybody heard about it.
Okay.
So first roll was a 17.
Okay.
The next roll was a 17 plus 8.
Oh, fuck. You know everything about the court.
And another 17, so I know everything about Scarlet stuff.
So
Damn it.
what was the first one was for Storm Rain?
Yes, and that
And
was
you-
a 17 with the modifier.
Okay. You don't know anything about Storm Rain. This is as far south as you've traveled. So this is the first time you've even heard that there was a place in Endurus called Storm Rain.
Okay.
For William, or the Crimson Court, you said you got that would be a 25?
17 plus 8, yeah.
Okay. Not much. You don't really know too much about what this would be. You, from the conversations you heard in there between her and the general, you can at the very least surmise that the Crimson Court is a shady criminal organization. But you don't really, there's no book on the Crimson Court that made its way into the Underdark.
Okay.
And then William Mason, it's a name. Sounds very human.
So none of them are particularly infamous enough that my books would have given me any knowledge.
You would have had to get a pretty high roll. You probably would have had to get like a nat 20 to learn anything further than that. Because they're just not, they're regionalities, really.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so the rest of you arrive at the Harrison's Manor, similarly as it always has been, where there's no one really there except for a few servants. The house is largely empty. You do see Lord Harrison is in the hall when you guys get there. He is enjoying a very small supper on his own, with a very low-lit hearth. Just occasional servants coming to refill his wine. He looks like he is deep in the cup.
I think I would just give him a polite nod and keep moving.
Easy enough.
Kieran would do something similar, and once they're out of earshot, Kieran go, well, he really looks quite sad now, doesn't he?
I suppose. It does seem that control of his town has been wrested from him.
That's fair.
To be honest, I don't think it was going very well for him beforehand. This whole... whatever. All I'm saying is, where I come from, this whole, religious, cult stuff, that would have been cracked down on a lot faster. We're out of earshot, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
you said once you're out of earshot. Yeah. Although it's not much he could do if he heard you other than be sadder.
Kieran turns around, you fucking nerd. Not really, no.
He heard that, no.
Oh no!
All right, so you all get to the top of the stairs towards your rooms, and you notice that there's just... I guess you notice the piece of paper at Wiswick's door. But you can retire to your individual rooms, or you can accost Wiswick if you wish.
I would like to accost Wiswick. I would like to...
Roll for accost.
I'll stick around to make sure that nobody gets bloodied.
Smart.
There's a locked door in between me and you.
I can pick that.
Yeah, I could probably kick it down if I needed to,
Kieran can
So
watch.
I'm just gonna hammer on the door, just hammering on it. Wiswick! Open the door!
No!
I try the handle, and I find that it's locked. I will pick this lock if you don't open it.
I'll let you in, but one at a time.
One what at a time? One person?
Yeah.
Great, I'm going first. Open the door.
Okay. I very slowly creak open the door and try and let Scarlet in, and then
I want to
slam
push it.
behind her.
Nope, I want to push it open.
Okay.
Do you want to resist that, Wiswick, or are you just letting her in? Because she's probably going to beat you on that.
Well, yeah, she's gonna beat me on it, and he's probably gonna like let it go, but then he's
Yeah.
gonna like quickly like try and close the door after. It
Once
slams.
the door is closed, if the camera lingers in the hallway, I'll turn to Kieran and be like, "Do you have teenagers in Alicia? Like, is that a thing?"
We elves age quickly, if you will. We
Hmm.
go through maturity.
Understood.
rather
See,
quick.
in at least in human terms, this is very like 13.
I feel like deep gnomes maintain that level of maturity.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, Kieran, this reminds you of the way Elysian elves behave before their first century is over. All right, so I'd say Timber goes right to Scarlet's room.
These old folk, they probably remember the calamity. They're doomers.
Wiswick, the little boy Wiswick. We should start calling Wiswick our good boy. But anyway, Scarlet, you are alone with Wiswick. I mean, Cal and Kieran are outside, so it's
Okay.
unless you're
I'm
talking
not-
quietly, they're gonna hear you.
No, I'm mad, so I'm not making any point to keep my voice down. What did you hear? What did you mean you said you heard all of our stories?
I heard my familiar out the window, and I
Why?
heard some specific and details because
What exactly did you hear?
some names, some
What
people.
names?
You know, the kinds that you heard.
Wiswick,
Said.
what names?
Look, I mean, okay, I mean, I heard the name William Schmason, and the court, and something about a bloody bird or something. I don't remember.
Whatever you heard, don't tell anyone. Do you understand me?
But why?
Don't tell anyone.
Look, I'll respect your secrets. That's fine. I won't tell anyone. But this is stuff that is out now. People know these things. The general knows these things.
I
You might as
know
well tell
he
your
knows.
friends. It's not good to keep this stuff hidden, especially if it's going to cause us trouble down the way.
It's an understanding.
That's exactly my point, though.
Fine. I'll throw open the door and tell the other two to get in here.
God.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it is very awkward. As soon as she opens the door, eyes of fury. Wiswick is like in a corner.
Get in quickly.
I go in.
I'll slam the door behind them.
Okay.
Why is it always my room?
It's because you got the biggest bed.
Yeah.
True.
What's
All right.
Up?
I've got to tell you something. Because apparently the general knows everything. And you're going to find out eventually. So... But it does not leave this room. Do you hear me?
What about, does Timber know already?
I'll get to him later.
That's fair.
So... The general comes from Grisham. I don't know if he told you that. But I spent a great deal of time in Grisham. Have any of you ever heard of the Crimson Court?
I can't
Sean,
say.
have either of us heard of the Crimson Court?
Kieran, definitely no.
No.
Cal, if you want to give me a history check,
Yeah.
you might.
It's a natural 20.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the only thing you could have gotten. You're familiar, somewhat with your background of some, particularly Oxland. Like, if this was a crime organization in a different area, you wouldn't really know much. But because Oxland is the main competitor to Endurus, you would know that Crimson Court is the largest criminal organization in Oxland, and it deals in all manner of things: smuggling, stealing, but it's particularly effective at paid assassinations.
Yes, I know what the Crimson Court is.
What do you know about it?
It's a underground organization, very large one in Oxland. They specialize in everything, really. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, but especially in paid assassination.
So then it's not really specialization, is it?
I elbow Kieran in the kidney.
Appropriately.
Well,
This is not helping Wiswick's nerves at all.
Wiswick is such a nervous ball.
Oh, fun.
I used to work. They are the ones that gave me this scar. They are the ones that despise.
Ah,
Did you kill for them?
I did.
So that's where you get up.
It was out of necessity.
why did you join up with them?
Wasn't really by choice.
Mm.
Got mixed up at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they sort of made me join.
Understood.
I don't get it. Tell us, what situation was it? Were you in trouble?
I was tracking a lead on my brother. Did I tell? I don't think I told you.
No.
Well,
You have a brother.
since... What'd you say?
You have a brother?
Yes, I have a twin brother.
Oh, a twin. Very rare for elves to have twins, so...
Well, good thing
Interesting.
I'm not an elf.
It's more common for elves to have triplets than twins. I don't know, we're making lore up way too... Today, we're waking up way too much weird secondhand lore.
Well, since I might as well just bare my entire soul, my brother
Okay,
was...
You don't have to.
No, she does.
I could
I
go
give
either way
him
on
a
this.
real stink eye.
This is a safe space, Scar.
Yep, safe.
Just for... I'm not, like, taking out my special dagger for threatening purposes. It's for comfort. Just to
Okay.
make that very clear. So, hold on.
Like a healthy person, you know?
Yes, exactly. So I'm just gonna, like, take it out, and I'm just holding it just for comfort.
Which I think would not translate to them as
No,
comfort.
Huron takes a half step back. Scarlet and her dagger.
So, my brother was taken when we were about 18. I don't know by who, and that's what I'm looking for. And when I got mixed up with the court, they promised me information about his whereabouts if served. So I did.
How long were you a member of the court?
Oh. And DM, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe 2 years.
Something like that. It might have been 3, but roughly around that, yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
And how long ago did you leave them?
A few months. It's recently.
And you're not at all worried about the whole no one leaves the court?
Oh, I'm very worried about it.
That's why I want to leave. I want to get out of here because they know I'm here.
They do. What is the general studying? Is he one of their? I don't know. Members.
He worked in Gristrom, but he was not a member of the. But he knows all about it. He knows everything.
Do you know anyone's name there? Your contact? Who's hunting you?
That first part of the question made me think of somebody in particular. So I'm just gonna pause for a second. And I almost don't answer. But then... So, again, I don't know if I told you this, but I know I told Timber. Last week, I think it was, I had a nightmare, a vision, something of the Cirrus that worked for the king in the... She advised him, and the relationship is suspicious. I didn't like anybody, but I really didn't like the Cirrus. And they appeared in my dream. It was after we had fought all the zombies. And they said they were watching me. They could see me. And that the Crimson Court does not forget. So they know I'm here.
So it seems we have two options to me. The first is run. Make sure that we get you to another town or another place. But if they're watching you, wouldn't they know that we ran? Wouldn't that not really help us? Just keeps us a step ahead. Seems
it's
to
the
me
best
that
option we have. We would delay.
It seems delay
until we can figure this out.
Right. I'd say if we can maybe find ourselves another patron or somebody who can help us with more power than we have, that could also solve our issue, and it would solve our issue in a more permanent manner.
That is ideal.
So
I have to imagine the general is no friend of the court's, correct?
No, but he's no friend of mine either.
Well, they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And I think you should remember that he's not your friend yet.
How commonplace are powerful wizards and Cirruses on the surface here? I mean, if we're gonna run out and do our own thing, it might be a long time until we find some clues to help us. Are we gonna be okay in the meantime?
Let me consult God. God, how common are powerful sorcerers?
Wizard's looking for some consolement, not some...
So in the Quintarchy, powerful mages are most common. They're fairly common, actually. They're not so, there's varying degrees, though. There's definitely several, traveling, very weak sorcerers who just sort of use it as a grifting technique. And then there's the people in Cara Delen who are some of the most powerful sorcerers.
Is there a college of mages kind of a thing?
In Cara Delen, yeah. Now, there are a lot of, you've encountered some, minor magic wielders just in your time in Magicset.
Right.
So minor magic is fairly common. Powerful magic is rare, though.
So, there is, there's certainly powerful mages that we can get in contact with, but none that I know personally. And
Yes, I believe the general said he had contacts
Hmm.
with the wizards of Caer-Dolan.
So what would the plan be for you then? Why would we need to get in touch with them? To combat the Sirius, or?
Yes, to find a way around whatever's tracking Scarlet, and perhaps fulfill some of my goals along the way. But it's not necessary if we don't trust him. The general was very, he knew a lot about us, but it was tough to get a read on him, and I'm not sure I think he's a good person yet.
No, I doubt he is. One generally doesn't rise to that rank while being a good person. One is effective to get there. Based on, I remember he was a famed military leader during the last war with the Gwyn, but he seemed to know more than an average general would know. To be honest with you, it seemed to me more like he was placed rather highly in Heinrich's court, or in his
I want
trust.
to know how he knows all of this.
Exactly.
He has very interesting allies indeed. To see a Quintaki general with a wood elf along his side. I have to
He even
imagine it's
mentioned
quite
my
a
uncle's
sight.
name.
Who's your uncle?
Oh, I never told you about Owick?
No, we haven't really talked.
He was an explorer of his time.
Of the surface?
He
or?
was one of the few Snivneblin that had explored out of our homelands. Quite a powerful wizard too. Taught me everything he knew.
He sounds like a powerful man. Is he still around?
Yes, last that I heard.
Fair. Scar,
I want to make.
Go
Go ahead.
No.
Okay. I want to make one thing very clear. You don't have to help me. I know I'm dangerous.
I know that, at least. I think we all know that, probably. But, to be honest with you, you folks are the only people that I've, really spoken with in a long time, and, or on a real level. And, I'd go so far as to actually call you my friends at this point. So, I'm in it for the long haul, Scar, if you need me.
Appreciate
I can
that.
sew pants for everyone.
I could do without the constant threats, but I'm with you too, Scarlet.
If you promise to stop waking me up with loud noises, I'll consider it.
No promises.
No, there are no promises.
All right, I guess that's a risk I'm gonna have to take.
Q, your decision?
The Crescent Heart sent me to you, and I will respect her wishes. I believe there's a reason we have met, and I will assist as I can.
Well, there you have it. We've got your back.
Thank you.
Cal, do you have anything you want to say? Since we're all here.
We did a whole soul-bearing moment. It was great. What else do you need from me?
When you see me out in the hallway?
He was pulling you aside.
This is your... I mean, yeah, pull me aside. Let's do it.
Everyone
I'm
out.
gonna kick everyone out.
Do you actually want to have an aside with Cal? Everyone's...
Yeah, I do. I want to lean over to him.
Kieran
So
and
everyone
Scarlet keep
hears-
talking about things, and then we get pulled aside.
Cal and Wiswick step out of the room while you're awkwardly standing in Wiswick's room.
I give Q and Scarlet a look like, what the fuck's going on?
Huron, when Wiswick leaves, starts kind of rummaging through his stuff to see if he can find the gems.
Oh,
Pretty sure they're in my backpack, but go ahead.
Scarlet's gonna go back to her room and brood.
okay. I assume you're gonna sort of talk to Timber off camera in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Easy enough. Okay, so I would say, Scarlet, when you go to Timber is there. He is in his hybrid form. And he's sitting in the corner meditating. He's just sitting in the corner meditating. And you guys have your off-camera scene where you tell him what you told them.
Mhm.
Which he has more clues into this anyway, so it's less of a revelation for him.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Scarlet. I can't do. I tried.
Scarlet.
That was pretty good.
The last 2 days, I've been trying to get the timbre voice, but like I really like it's so. There's so much of Alex in it, I think, that I just can't get the exact. I can do a gruff Russian accent.
You have to remember that Alex holds his mouth like this, so it's way out. It's very out and far, so it's a flat. All the vowels are very flat.
He does. He holds his teeth together.
Yeah, he does.
He holds his teeth together. All right, Scarlet, you're in your room. Kieran, give me an investigation check. Try to find those gems. The two of you start talking because, classic as ever, I have to plug my laptop.
Nat 1, nothing.
Caliph,
Yes, Wiz.
what's the deal? I mean,
With
you lied about your name.
oh,
What's going on? You running away from something? Something about a Duke or like a bad guy? Or are you like a secret prince that was disowned or something?
I will remind you, Cal, that the last time you'd spoken to Wiswick, like before you guys left, he had said, "Aren't you scared of the spooky ghost?" Because he overheard that.
Oh, right.
Part.
Yeah, the ghost too.
yeah, and I was like, what? Well, I'm not a prince per se. I am. I think incognito's the right word. I'm not. I've renounced my titles, sort of. Okay, I'll just tell you.
Which titles?
Yeah, so I am the second son of the. Well, last I knew, he was the Viscount of Storm Rain. And some things happened. It was life became a little bit untenable in the Storm Rain household, and with my brother set to inherit most of the lands anyway, I figured I would strike out on my own. And so I haven't used the family name. There is also the small matter of me being somewhat infamous in Honduras. So didn't want that to
Was your
hang over
castle
my
on
head.
Blue Street?
What? No. We didn't have a. It wasn't a castle. It was the manor house was located originally in Storm Rain. He may have moved it since he became the Viscount. I don't know.
Did you have servants?
Did I? Yes. What? What kind of a question is that?
I don't know. I always thought it would be cool to have a servant.
Now he's just asking you like little kid talking to rich person questions.
Yes, we had several servants. We had a whole household staff. I didn't really get to know them very well. I was busy.
So why'd you leave? Are you also in trouble? Are people looking for you?
No,
You said something about your parents looking for you?
that was news to me, to be honest with you. If they are looking for me, it's not exactly to welcome me back into the family, as it were. Have you heard? I know you haven't been to Honduras. Have you heard of the contest? Capital C.
No.
Okay. Well, it's a anyone can enter. It's a series of physical trials, sort of a thing, and the main event is the duels that kind of close out the whole festival. I was a duelist. The winner of the duel is usually, it helps their family significantly in terms of political power and fame and all that. And I was a contestant in the duels, and I lost the final eventually. And my parents did not exactly accept me fully back into the house, really just for appearance's sake, you know what I mean? And I decided that I was tired of being a duelist, and so I left. Is the short version.
What about the whole shoe thing?
The whole shoe thing.
You know, you making shoes, being an apprentice.
No,
and all.
that's a cobbler. I was a tailor, as apprentice.
Right.
But obviously, no, I wasn't. That was a lie. My parents had me spend from the time I was 10 to about a year and a half ago, doing nothing but learning how to duel. So.
Was the reason why you lost the duel because you didn't want to kill the guy?
No, these duels weren't to the death. It was with blunted steels. We don't want to kill the scions of our nobility, as they say. No, the reason I lost the duel is because I knew losing the duel would piss off my parents. And it was childish at the time, but I still don't regret it because, fuck them, to be honest with you. I haven't been allowed a day off, or wasn't allowed a day off for about 7 years, so.
Yeah, and at this point, Wiswick, you would... This is like the first time you've looked at Cal and sort of like, oh, yes, you are young as well. You're not quite as mature as I had given you. Continue.
Yeah. I think Wiswick just, is trying to sympathize. Yeah, screw him. Who needs him? Even though he can't sympathize at all because he has, no idea what it's like to be a noble or anything that he's talking about. He's just like, yeah, you did the right thing, Cal.
No, I
I'm
probably
behind you.
didn't. To be honest, I should have stayed and helped out my younger brother, but I don't know.
Your family is
I was a
important.
coward, I guess. This really isn't your responsibility. You just wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you're telling me the truth about these things. I know it's not easy, but I mean, I think it would be more productive if you let everyone know, so that way, we're all in the same boat. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
I mean, I feel like you've played pretty straight with us. Are you, is there anything you've been holding back? You're an explorer? You're out here finding things? Are you just out here exploring? Is that really why you're out here?
Actually, I am exploring, but nobody ever asks me about my family. I have a pretty big family.
Yeah, I knew that. Did you leave them on purpose, or you just, is this kind of taking up the uncle's mantle?
Well, yeah, I mean, my father doesn't really approve of what I'm doing. He never really approved of me studying the ways of magics.
Mm-hmm.
But, I would say that my two younger brothers have filled that void for him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of doesn't really recognize me anymore. When I left, everything was... The only person that really I felt bad for leaving was my sister, who I used to go on scouting trips with.
Mm-hmm.
She's who I would explore the most with in the Underdark, and I don't know what she's been up to, and it makes me nervous, but I'm hoping everything's well back at home so I can come back a better man. Sneveblin, no.
Yeah, I got it. Well, that's good. What's your sister's name? Cut two.
Chime in here any second, Sean. I'm dying.
Her name was Sarah.
It's just as stupid as that. She's got 7 names.
Sorry, everyone.
You gotta pick one.
Yeah, Fizri. Yep.
Well, listen, friend. I'm sure she'll be all right, but let's hope that we could get you back to her someday. Or her to you,
that would
perhaps.
be nice.
Look, should we?
There's something else.
Oh, yes.
I told you about my uncle Owick.
Yeah.
He was a powerful wizard. He was the ones who told me how to weave magic in the ways that are unknown to others. And he told me that in the past, the deep gnomes worshipped a god that really had unimaginable power, and it's what my power originates from, his teachings.
Okay.
And my real reason to explore is to maybe discover more about this god. He was lost in a bygone era, and I don't know much about him, only his symbol, the name, and the fact that he created the gnomes. It led them into the Underdark, and defended them with powerful illusion magics.
What was his?
And the power of earth elementals.
What was the god's name?
Well, we call him the Diamond in the Rough. But this is lost to my people. They don't worship him anymore. They barely remember his name. They just worship bats and moles and worms.
So really, it's a exploration, but also attempting to return with perhaps proof of this god or something to you people.
Well, if I could unlock the secret powers of the Diamond in the Rough, I will satisfy all my needs. The power of the magical power that he provides to our people. And I'll also be able to prove my dad that I was the best and awesome, and he was wrong.
Understood. And, well, let's... Do you have any leads? Or is it... Are we shooting in the dark right now?
Well, all of the books that I acquired about magics were gotten from my uncle. So I have a feeling that if I follow his footsteps, I might find something along the way that maybe he missed. Other than that, I really don't have many leads. That's why I haven't mentioned it until now.
Understood. So I suppose... So we should keep an eye out for where your uncle's been then, right? As we travel.
Yeah, but I didn't really want to ask the general. He doesn't seem like a person who would give me the type of information that I'd want. Or if he did, it would be for a price.
Yes, it most certainly would. Alright, well let's...
You didn't even give me the spell I wanted.
Well, let's look out for opportunities to leverage something, as it were, to try and gain more information.
Yeah, and be careful with the god's name. I don't know much about him, so... And it seems like there's a lot of people that are against worshipping these chained gods, as they call them.
Oh!
Or dead gods out here.
Dead or chained? Very different.
Well, either way, it doesn't... there's a lot of gods out here on the surface that I don't know much about. And, yeah, people haven't been taking well to worshippers recently. Like,
Well,
do you see all the flack that Huron gets everywhere he goes?
I don't think he gets a lot of flack. The people around here got flack because they were murdering, people. I don't think that was necessarily tied to the religion thing. Well, it was. People didn't dislike them because of the religion. It's complicated.
You mean people aren't murdering each other everywhere we go?
Generally not, no. It's low on the list of... Remember that town up on the river... Whatever?
Grimstad.
Thank you. Up on the river Grimstad.
Yeah, those shady folks in the back.
But even though they were shady...
creepy.
Yeah, they were creepy as hell, but they weren't killing each other,
Yeah.
So it's not everywhere.
That was some good oats.
Those weren't, but yes. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Look, I'm gonna go, maybe we should talk to... I think Scarlett's not okay, to be honest with you. I don't think we've convinced her of much, you know?
I don't really know what else we can say. I'm just glad that she's being open with us.
That is nice. Agreed. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll go tell her about, we'll figure something out. Or the DM will chime in, because he just breathed heavily.
Oh, I should mute myself. I know. I would say at that point, Kieran just opens the door. It's like, I've been in here for ages.
Wiswick, those gems from the swamp.
Yeah, I got them. What's up?
So I was thinking those kind of belong to Mandrick, don't you think? It's, not necessarily his tower, but it is his home. And if he has any chance of getting back, he would need those gems.
Yeah, I did say that that tower was his.
Right. So maybe it would be a nice gesture for us to go over later or tomorrow. It's not a big rush, I don't think. I think he'll talk with the Druidess a little longer, but we should return the gems.
Yeah, you're right. We should.
I know I'm right.
But we do need some money. I'm kind of broke.
Yes, we all are.
How much money do we need?
Do you want me to do the math? I can do the math.
I mean, are you looking for diamonds? What do we do?
I'm looking for hundreds of gold at this point.
No. I thought you meant
I am a stockpile of spell scrolls that could last me months.
I thought you meant like pocket money. I didn't.
This is pocket money. This is all that Wiswick spends his money on.
Yes, I recall having bought you food for a while.
Knowledge.
All right. So at this point, is there anything else you'd like to do in the evening, or would you like to continue on through to going to bed?
Kieran's got nothing.
All right. So, sort of that kind of you all take some solitary time. Maybe you grab some food down from the kitchens, but you sit and think with what you've revealed to your compatriots, what you have learned from the general, what you generally found out today, and sleep finds you well. I would like everyone for the first bout of sleep to give me wisdom saving throws.
Oh no. Is it magically based?
No.
Damn it.
That's not something I'm good at. It's an 11 for Cal.
16.
12.
25.
Claire's. All right. So did anyone get lower than 12?
I did.
Okay. All right, Cal. So you are. It's around 1 a.m. And you start hearing loud cluttering below, like someone's like dragging things out, and people are carrying large things and dropping them, and you hear not shouting, but just sort of like raised voices that are attempting to be muffled as things are just being moved about.
I roll out of bed, and I grab my sword. This is plural. And I belt them on, and I open my door and start to like slowly examine my situation. I'm like, in my head, like I'm disgruntled, or not disgruntled. Sorry, I'm like
disoriented.
Disoriented. Thank you. And I'm in like sleep clothes, like I'm barefoot and stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck's going on out here?
Yeah. So as you're sneaking down, you start to hear that the noises are coming from the Great Hall. And a little bit above you on the third story, which you've never been to, which you presume is likely the Lord's quarters or just something like that. But there's just a lot of disturbance happening, and they're starting to no longer be quiet about it. There's no one in the hallway immediately where you are.
Well, then I'm going to go to the top of the stairs and look down.
Okay. So you're seeing several men and women, not a whole lot, really just the servant staff that you've noticed here. They're all here. They're dragging large chests out and other large boxes or crates or bundles of things into their arms, and they're just dragging all of these out the front door.
I go down the stairs and I grab the arm of the nearest servant. What's going on here?
They drop what they're holding, and it's was just a sort of a wrap, a bunch of cloth wrapped up. You drop down and you see just gems and necklaces and other jewelry scattered down. Didn't apologize if we awoke you, Caliph. Just bringing out some of the Lord's belongings to the carts.
I look down at the gems, and then I look up at the servant's face, and then back down at the gems. And then I look around to see...
I know what it looks like. It's honestly not. Go outside, Lord. He's there. It's not what you think.
I raise an eyebrow, and I walk to the front door, and I lean on the door frame and look outside.
So as soon as you walk away,
isn't it winter? I must be cold. I'm like shirtless.
It's it's like March weather. But,
yeah.
Those nips can cut diamonds.
But the servant scatters up the gems. You look out the front, and you do see there is a cart in the courtyard. Servants are throwing chests on it and bags. And you do see sitting in the front carriage of it, wrapped in a very heavy, very fancy cloak, is the Lord Harrison, swaying and just drinking from a wineskin.
I raise my voice so as to be heard by everyone. And I go, heading somewhere, my lord.
All of the servants kind of stop and stare up at you. Some of them similarly drop their things because they're not doing successful at sneaking out any of these belongings. The Lord does not turn to you and just sort of... I don't have to explain myself to you.
No, surely you don't. However, I'm sure your people would like to know why you appear to be raiding the treasury.
This is my legal possessions, Galeth. I will be bringing them where I see fit.
Can I roll insight to see if they are his legal possessions?
Yeah, go for it.
Moving away in the middle of the night.
Seems mighty suspicious.
It's a 15.
15. You get the feeling that it's half and half. Like there's like the amount of chests.
Yeah, it seems
like
a little high.
It seems a little high. Some of it, like the jewelry, it's not the town's jewelry. It is, there is a lot of jewels there in jewelry, but some of those chests probably have some coin. Some of these chests might have, some of them opened up when they dropped them, and you see some of them have just like food, like a lot of food in them for a long journey. But it's definitely not all. There's no way it's all his. Money. The town of Magin says my legal possession. I will protect my possessions from those who wish to raid my coffers, raid my title.
Did you receive orders today from the general, my lord?
I can't give me orders, Oxlin bastard. Why do you care?
Why do I care? Well, I'd rather not see your people run out of money to pay the guard and all that.
They'll protect themselves. There's still... He's like frustrated. There's still money in the coffers. It'll last them the other months. I'll take my legal possession. And what I'm owed.
I see. How many horses are pulling this cart?
4.
Oh, that's a lot of horses.
It's a large cart.
Yeah.
This is definitely for a journey. This is not just going up to Brackwood Glen. This is he's hitting the road. He's fleeing town. He, as you're thinking for a moment, he just snaps at the servants to continue working. They slowly, kind of keeping eyes at you and the swords in your hand. Okay.
I turn back around and I look at the line of servants going back and forth, and I'd like to look at see if any of them look angry or, I guess, angry.
Yeah, give me I'd say give me either an insight or perception check. Your choice.
15.
15? Okay. So there's a mixture of expressions on their face. There's probably 6 servants in total moving things. It's why they're so loud, because they don't really have a lot of hands. It seems like either most of the servants, because the first few days we were here, there were a lot of servants. There were like a dozen or more. And the others were probably those who got frustrated with the Lord and just stopped, or they're sick. Some of these servants don't look particularly well either. But they, some of them have fear on their face. Others have, there's at least 1 or 2 that their faces are just like they're definitely mad, and they feel, you can sense they're probably being coerced to do this.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to walk back further into the hall and wait for one of the mad ones to walk by and stop him.
Okay. As soon as you walk just shallowly into the hall, you just hear Harrison. Oxlin, loving Durin. Sort of slowly after that, the procession continues, and then you catch one coming in, just sort of shaking his head as he's stepping in to go collect more. What do you want to do?
You there?
Oi?
What the bloody hell's going on here?
Bastards leaving town.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't trust the Oxland Red General. Threatened us.
He threatened you?
Said any man who disobeys his orders is a traitor to his people.
Understood. What's all this? Is this all this actually his?
A large portion of it's from his chambers above. From him and Old Lady Harrison's chamber.
Oh, yes.
But it is... Some of it's from the treasury below.
Okay.
But...
Go as slow as you can. I'll be right back.
Whatever you say.
Please.
I didn't say anything.
No. I'm being polite.
Moves on.
And then I go back upstairs.
Okay.
And I go to Wiswick's room.
Okay.
And I knock first and then enter.
Okay. Wiswick is snoozing.
Cal, I would say as you walk up, you overhear above in that top level, you overhear someone yelling at the servants to be quicker. Just like a brusque male voice, just careful with that, hurry up, get the chest down to the car, we're leaving as soon as we can. Hinting at that it's some of the house guard are with the general.
Got it. Okay. I go to Wiswick's room and I shake him awake.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, revenge. Ooh,
No,
what's going on?
Wiswick, wake up.
Ooh, me.
I need you to send Jet to the general.
Okay, why?
Tell him
What's
that
going on?
Harrison is trying to escape with half of the money in the treasury.
Oh, damn.
And a lot of
okay.
food as well.
No, I'll get right on it. I begin quickly writing a letter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What are you gonna write?
Dear General Kingsley, or to whom it may concern.
Imagine you want to write a quick note in this situation.
Exactly what Cal just said.
Yeah. All right, easy enough. Jet flutters out the window. What do you want to do in the meantime?
I'm going to Scarlet and Timber's room.
Okay. Oh
God.
Quick thing for you, Scarlet.
Yes.
No, actually no.
Don't
Cal-
tease me like that.
Cal, you get to Scarlet's room, knock on the door. Scarlet, you wake up. Timber's gone.
That's not a good sign.
There is a note on the desk.
Look, that's a good sign.
He left a note.
You left a note. Can I go read the note?
Dear Scarlet,
Yeah.
I am biking on the west coast.
Dear Scarlet, I never told you this, but I do competitive cycling in the Beastlands to the south.
I am a bicyclist over on the west coast.
Bicyclist. I mean, it's very brief, and it essentially, in so many words, says that he is left for a few days, and that he's going to be gone for at least 3 days.
I don't like that at all, but we have...
He's investigating a certain spot. We'll reconvene for more.
Hey, sorry to wake you. I know you hate it. I have a concern. And a request, maybe. So, the Lord Harrison is leaving, and he's stealing the town money and food, and I think we should stop him. And I was going to ask you to do some stealthy stuff for us. Here.
Why do we care?
We care because it's better to leave somewhere with friends instead of as enemies. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather we do something nice for the town and the general, and maybe this will help him, not arrest us, if that's still your concern.
But you want me to go sneak around?
Briefly.
Do you think that would look a little suspicious?
Not if we win.
Fine. Let me get my things.
Thank you very much. I just need you to cut the to sneak. He's got 4 horses on his cart. I just need you to cut the tethers. Or their what's it called? Their harnesses.
Yes.
Reins.
Oh, on the cart.
On the cart. Yep. I was thinking about breaking the axle, but it would be a little bit overt.
Yes, I think that would make quite a lot of noise.
So, I think you just cut a harness or 2. Really, even just like 2 of them.
All right. If I get caught in fault,
I will distract him.
I'm blaming you.
Of course.
I go and get my stuff.
I'm gonna go back downstairs and stand in the not near the door. I'm gonna walk kind of to the rear of the cart ish.
Okay. So are you inside or are you going out to the courtyard?
I'm going back out to the courtyard, I guess.
Okay. So what you will notice when you go down through the main hall is there are the villagers or the servants are moving the last stuff. You can still hear a few folks upstairs, but it seems as though most of them are starting to leave out into the courtyard. And you see there are 2 guards, house guards, thanes maybe, who are behind the villagers, just sort of. Some of them are even one of them. One of them is actually shorter. It appears to be a dwarven woman, and one of them is a human male. The human man is actually shoving the back of a large battle axe, the blunt ends, against one of the servants, pushing them forward. This is happening right in front of you as you come down into the.
All right, then I'm gonna go.
Exit.
I'm gonna use them to make a scene. Then.
Okay, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go to the guy that's shoving the servant and be like, "Oi! Is that how you treat your people? Really?"
He turns around, and you notice that he looks a little bit like Ed Sheeran.
You motherfucker! Oh, it's you!
And he's just you.
And here
Get back to the room.
I'm surprised you could speak, you know? I really thought that your mother was a frog.
Go back to your room. This doesn't concern you.
Go back to my room. What are you, my father? Fuck you! You were just pushing that poor man around. See? This man. Why were you pushing him?
I'm a sneaky sneak while this is happening.
Yes, please do.
All right.
I'd like Wiswick to do something too.
All right. Cal, I'm gonna ask you to give me a
Reverse charisma check.
Yeah, like I guess it's like it's intimidation, but it's not. It's goading. So give me a an intimidation check. That's an intimidation check. So you're trying to goad him. Scarlet, what are you gonna do?
So I'm gonna wait until I see he's making a proper scene, and then I'm going to. So just so I'm picturing this right, when I go out the door, where is the cart as I'm looking at the door?
Okay, so you are currently, I'd imagine you're in the back of the Great Hall while Cal is talking with them.
Mhm.
When you step out, there's those steps that lead down
Yep.
to the courtyard,
Yep.
and then right in the center,
Uh-huh.
in front of the fountain there,
Yep.
is the cart, as if it's going to go out and leave.
Okay, so I can see the back of the cart, so the horses would be in front.
Correct, and there
Okay.
are at least 4 servants that are going to all be out there.
Okay,
Now they're not all okay with what's happening, so you
sure.
can use that to your advantage or not. They're and you haven't gotten a glimpse of the situation in the courtyard yet, so there might be additional things there.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do when Cal goads this guy into whatever happens?
Cream cheese. I am going to casually make my way down the stairs, just like as soon as I see like a place that I can like hide, if there's shadows in there that I can hide, that's when I'm gonna slip and disappear.
It's fairly dark.
Yeah.
Throughout the hall because they're trying to do this under the secrecy of dark.
Yep.
So there's really just like the very basic torch sconces at the door.
Mm-hmm.
So the hall itself is fairly dark if you
Okay.
sneak around.
Okay, so I would like to sneaky sneak.
Okay, Wiswick, what are you doing?
Wiswick is going to take a mental picture of the dwarven guard that is with Ed Sheeran guard, and he's going to try and get out into where the carts are, like as quickly as possible. But before he gets there, maybe he'll also find a shadowy place. Maybe he'll just do it in the middle of a crowd if it's extra busy. But he's going to use his disguise self feature to make himself look like that dwarvish guard.
Okay. For reference to the chat, Ed Sheeran guard is a guard from several sessions ago. If you haven't seen it,
It's Ed Sheeran, dude.
Sure, I keep saying Shireen, right?
Yeah.
Which is the daughter of Stannis Baratheon in Game of Thrones. Sorry, Ed Sheeran. It was a guard with a wispy ginger beard and ginger hair. Looked like Ed Sheeran.
Real piece of shit.
He smacked Callus' hand away from some treasure in like session 4. They have a feud going on, and real dick. But anyway, all right. So you are going to try to disguise yourself as the dwarven woman. Once you get out into the courtyard. Okay, so you're trailing behind Scarlet, trying to sneak out.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, so Scarlet and actually Cal, give me, what was your intimidation check?
It's a 17.
Okay, so Ed Sheeran guard. All right.
Ed Sheeran.
I'm gonna keep saying Shireen. I'm just gonna say the ginger guard. Cal's nemesis steps forward. He's gritting his teeth at the insults. He called his mother a frog. He starts walking straight up to you and goes for with a blunt end of his axe to your face.
I'd like to dodge.
Okay.
Which is really, he's just gonna roll against my AC, right?
Yeah, he's just gonna roll against your AC. Did not roll that high, so Cal, you definitely do a nice little. But
All right, I'd like to dodge and then riposte with a disarming strike.
Go for it. Roll for it.
And my goal is not necessarily to inflict damage, but basically I want to like rip the axe out of his hand and push him away.
Yeah.
And so I'm like kind of like I want to almost toy with him basically.
Okay. When this happens, as soon as it misses, as soon as whatever you do happens, the dwarven guard is going to get involved and sort of step forward and be like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing here? We got a timeline." In which case, Scarlet and Wiswick, you can give me stealth rolls with advantage because they're distracted.
Oh. Ooh, I'm glad I dropped it on the ground. Unnatural 20.
25.
Easy enough to get past the guards with those rolls. Cal, give me. Did you?
I
just
did.
give me a. Okay, go for it. What was it?
It's a 26 with my disarming strike modifier.
Yep. Yep. You successfully dodge out of the way and are able to do your maneuver to get the axe out of his hands. He is going to immediately jump on you and try to grab you and start like beating the shit out of you. So I'm going to do he's going to attempt to grapple you. And we'll, after this one, this is just going to be a distraction. So we'll see what they want to do. Because this will take a little while for this. All right, give me a competing strength check against his.
12. No, plus 5, 13.
Okay. Either way, you just beat his 11. So,
nice.
It's just at this point, it's turning into a little bit of a brawl. He's got his fists up. The dwarf is trying to grab him and pull him to the side. You two, you get to the front door. You see down. You see that the cart is there. The general is swaying. He's still drinking from a wineskin. I guess this is new information that the general, or not the general. Sorry,
the general.
I heard
Harrenson.
Lord. I heard Lord. It's fine.
Harrenson is clearly inebriated at the front of the cart. There is a guard sitting at the cart with him now, and then there are 4 servants down below finishing adding stuff to the cart. They've got about like 4 chests left, and they'll probably be done in the next 5 minutes loading everything.
To get moving.
Yeah, Wiswick's gonna go to the servant that is the furthest behind, like the last servant with a chest. And he's gonna walk up to him, give her a sour face, and hold on, was the dwarf a woman or a male?
Dwarf is a woman, and so you need to imitate a female dwarvish accent. Did you say "Oi, give me that"?
Yeah, he snaps it.
Give me a performance check.
Jesus Christ.
A 10?
This servant does not care. Like they understand that this is this guard must have huffed some helium or something, but it's like they've been bullied so much today that they're just like, fuck it, and they just let it go. And you the chest. It was realistically it was 2 of them holding this chest, so they both drop it though. They're just like, fine, whatever, step back. And you hear the general just like, what's going on back there? We've got to get going. We need to leave now. Scarlet, what are you doing?
So would I have seen Wiswick go and do that?
Yeah, you would have seen Wiswick come up next to you and just magically turn into the dwarven guard who's distracted behind, trying to pull the Ed Sheeran guard off of Cal.
Okay, well, I'm just going to, I guess I would have heard the Lord say that they're leaving soon, and I would have assessed that they are leaving within the next 5 minutes, so I'm going to quickly but quietly make my way up to the cart, and I'm going to go around to the left first, and I'm going to try and cut the reins.
Okay, so you're going down the left set of stairs.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to, I guess, go around the servants and try to cut
Yeah.
the
harness.
reins.
The harness,
Yeah.
not the reins.
Harness.
The-
Yeah, harness.
The harness. So
That's what I meant.
So you're
Thank you,
going to
voice
be
on the
cutting the harness. So for reference, the left side has the guard and the right side has General or Lord Harrison. So I mean, you could still try to do it, but the more alert person, just for your reference, is on that side.
Could kill another guard. No.
Please don't.
No. That was just for dramatic effect. Yeah, I said left, so I'm just gonna
Okay.
go left.
All right. So give me an initial stealth check.
Mm-hmm.
With advantage because the servants are distracted by the
Shannon, what
guard,
dice are you using?
the guard talking weirdly.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Tim?
What dice are you using, Shannon?
I'm using my giant D20 from Die Hard Dice.
Nice. See what I did there.
Oh,
I got another 25.
My amethyst dice are from.
Oh, yeah?
Dice. Yeah.
Hey.
25.
25.
Lovely. Wiswick, the servants turn to you, and they're all looking at you at this point. While and you see behind them, you see Scarlet crouched down, moving behind them. Are you all right? You sound funny. Why are we stopping loading? We need to leave. The Lord says we need to leave.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're
Clayton,
muted.
you're muted.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. So I didn't know that there were two guys holding one box. I thought it was like one box per guy.
No, there's 4 of them, 2 to a chest. They're chests. If there are boxes, then it'll be 1. Yeah.
Right. So I think I just pick up one end of the chest
Mm-hmm.
and I just start pushing, like going faster with it, like trying to get it in the thing as fast as possible. Like I wasn't trying to slow them down. I was trying to speed them up.
Oh, so you're trying to deceive them. So yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so give me a general deception check with advantage because they're not smart enough really to know any magic is going on. They just think you're being weird. It's mostly to see if they naturally go back into their flow upon you doing this.
I think instead of like, he knows that like talking isn't working out for him, so he's just mumbling like. I rolled a 19 on my deception check.
Okay.
Let's see what type of modifier. That's a 0, so it's a 19.
So, Wiswick, as this dwarven guard, female dwarven guard, you grab the chest, you start pushing it forward. They're just like, ugh. They look to each other. All right. So, Scarlet, you make it to the other side of the cart, and you're able to sort of slip between the two wheels, and crouch down in a way where, and you hear as the cart is starting to be loaded. You know that the cart is starting to be loaded, that the timer's back on.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? You looking to your left. You see to your left is the servants loading the last four chests.
Yep.
They've gotten one on.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very quickly that they get the other 3 on.
Yep.
To your right is just sort of sitting there sighing, kind of probably the most alert person in the entire courtyard, just standing there.
Okay.
And you can hear the Lord Harrison just, hurry up with it. We need to get to Honduras in a week.
All right. So how close am I? Am I close enough to start cutting things? Or
No,
not yet?
You would need another stealth check to get close enough.
Okay. Well, guess I'm gonna stealth.
Yeah.
To get close enough.
I'm sorry we didn't wake up Kieran. Stefan's just like, well, this is fun.
I mean, it is stealth. I kind of get it.
That was a 13.
Yeah. 13?
Yeah. Crap.
Okay.
I mean, even I could do better than that, but whatever.
You're sleeping.
I'm trancing. There's the difference.
Whatever.
Okay. So, You take your first step out,
Yep.
and your dagger scrapes against the wheel.
Yep.
And they don't see you right away, but the guard stands up because he did hear something. And it's so the way I would say, give me a quick insight check.
Is this a good time for Wiswick to have been approaching the cart, perhaps 30 feet from the cart?
It's not a very large courtyard, so you are within 30 feet of it.
Cal
Yes,
takes up the scene up a notch.
Yeah, you Cal, give me a like a distant from your mic shout that's happening from inside.
Oh yeah. Hey, you use those moves with your mom. Yes, I'm saying that you fucked your mom. You fucking perv.
Ew. I don't know.
I'm Ed Sheeran.
I'll kill you. He's gonna actually swing at you. He's mad enough.
Go.
But he
With what, his
only
fists?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He does only have his fists. So that is a 14 and a 9. Don't think he hits you.
No, I would like to stay. So he had like a big double-sided axe, right?
Yeah.
I want to be like leaning on the top of his axe, like I have it like on it's on the ground, and I'm just sitting there. As he swings at me, I'm just like, oh, hey.
And you see the dwarven woman. She's like, Tiernan, we got to get going. We have no time for this. And they're just like pulling on his like just trying to hold him back as he's just trying to go for you.
Oh, hear that, Tiernan? You gotta go.
Scarlet, what'd you get for your insight check?
7.
Okay, so all you can tell is that he didn't immediately see you. He may have heard you. He is standing up at this point, looking around the courtyard, and he shouts out to the rest of the servants. That's enough. That's enough. Leave it. We got to leave now. We have to leave now.
Fuck.
You're to tell no one about this. We have left house guards here. They will come after you if you say anything. As promised, the gold is inside with Tiernan. Thank you for your discretion. Lord, you ready to go? And you would have heard that too, Wiswick.
How far away am I from this guy?
You are like 5 feet away from him.
Okay.
He's like above and to your right.
I want to try and knock him out.
Okay, so
Me first!
so then what we would be doing is
Are we stealth knocking out?
Stealth knockout, stealth kill with knockout rules.
Knockout, yes. I'm specifying that right now.
Just throw a rock. Just throw a rock.
Tim,
to
you're
your
muted.
right.
Yeah,
I
you're
shouldn't
muted.
be. Oh. Sorry. Just throw a rock. There's 2 people on the I can't medicate. Fuck!
So Wiswick, you do have an opportunity. Like, she's not going to do this immediately. So while she's doing it, Wiswick, what do you want to do?
Who is she looking at right now? Can I see her?
You can't see her.
Okay.
You noticed you did because you're behind the cart with the
Right.
servants. You saw the house guard stand up and shout to them. He's literally like 10 feet away from you. The Lorde is right next to him. The cart is full up. They've pushed up the back of it. They've locked it. They're securing it right now. What would you like to do?
I'm going to cast suggestion on the Lord.
Okay. All right. What is your? It's a wisdom save, right?
Not unless I change it.
Yeah, you think the Lord's got good wisdom right now? Guys,
Yeah,
drunk.
he definitely has
Honestly,
disadvantage
I
because of his.
I really don't.
so
I
it's
think
like-
I'm gonna go with wisdom. I think I'm just gonna keep it a solid, normal suggestion.
Kieran could have walked up there, command, stay. Problem solved. But no, Cal wouldn't think of that, would he?
To be
All right,
honest,
Wiswick.
no.
And
What
I
is your
get
save?
Okay, my save, that's another whole question. Holy shit. 14.
Okay.
He rolled a 6.
Close.
Damn.
He had disadvantage. He rolled an 8. What do you suggest?
I have a course of activity limited to a sentence or two. So before I begin the suggestion, I just say, I'm here for my shift. And then at suggestion, I say, I'll finish up. Let's get out of here. You go. That other guy can go on break. You should tell him to leave.
So you're suggesting that the Lord tell the guard that is sitting next to him to leave, and you to replace him.
Exactly.
Okay. See, so the Lord hears this distinct voice that is not his house, one of his favorite house
magically
guards.
coerced.
I know. I'm just for just sort of like how ridiculous this moment is, and as he just sort of straightens up, he's like straightens up. That's enough, Wesley. You are not coming with me. You are relieved for the evening. Please return to your domicile. Egret, come. We must leave. Come. Join me. So we must leave. We need to leave tonight. So the guard looks at the Lord. This is not the plan, sir. This is not the plan at all. I'm supposed to be with you the entire way.
You heard the Lord, Wesley.
Wesley, leave. Leave now. I have to do this for 8 hours. Wesley's like, if you wish, sir, stay, do whatever you must. Watch the servants, I don't care. Just, you're off duty. You do not have to do this anymore. And he, very begrudgingly, very weirded out, he steps down and looks to you. Scarlet, give me a stealth check.
No.
With disadvantage.
Oh no.
Because he's stepping off the cart.
Oh no.
You're right there.
No. 11.
He rolled a 4.
Nope. 14. As he steps down, he looks to the dwarvish Wiswick, and just look at first says, "I don't understand. You're supposed to stay. What are you doing here? What is she doing here? Get up! What do you do?
I punch him.
Okay, all right. Go for an attack roll.
How about it's unarmed strike, right?
Yeah, unarmed strike, which should be it's just a D20 with your strength modifier.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right, so you successfully punch him in the face. So go ahead and roll. No, it's just 1 plus your strength. It's 1 plus your strength.
1 plus strength, just 1.
Okay, so you punch him in the face. He stumbles back and immediately draws his sword. Wiswick, what do you do?
I cast suggestion again on the same guy.
Okay.
On the Lord or the punch?
On the Lord.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna cast it again. Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
For everyone at home, this dispels the first suggestion.
Yeah.
It's a concentration spell.
So. All right. So with disadvantage, he rolled.
Okay. I tell him, We need to go! Hurry to the guardhouse! Well, wherever the general is.
Oh, I see what you're doing. All right, so the Lord again straightens up and just starts to shout around. Wesley, we need to go now to the guardhouse. Wesley, who just got punched in the face and has his sword drawn, is like, "Sir, there are your guests are accosting us. That's not the plan.
Wesley,
Not
you
the
stay
plan."
behind! Stay behind, Wesley! I got this!
Cal, inside,
Oh man.
you hear. Well, first you heard. You hear the punching. Then suddenly you hear Wiswick's loud voice. The dwarven guard stops pulling on Tiernan, who is still just swinging and missing you constantly as you taunt him. And she looks back and she's, "There's something not right out there. Fuck this." And she starts heading towards the door. What do you do, Tim?
I throw the axe handle between her legs to trip her.
Okay. All right. So I guess in that situation, just give me a general, a dexterity throwing attack, just to see if you can get it in the right position to trip her. Outside for Scarlet, you just punched this man. He drew his sword. Dwarvish Wiswick just suggested to the guard, or to the Lord. The Lord said, "Wesley, come now. We need to leave to the guardhouse."
I'm so confused. I mean, this guy drew his sword in front of me. I'm going into it with him.
All right. Well, he is backing away from you right now. At least I'll say that. He is backing away to get up onto the car, and he's just stay back. We're leaving right now. I don't know what is going on. Ygritte, go and tend to these servants. Keep them safe from this mongrel. We're leaving. Stay back.
All right, can I then, instead of going for him, can I just lunge at the harnesses for the horse and start?
You can attempt to. You may certainly try.
Yes, I would like to try.
Cal, inside for what'd you get for throwing the double axe between her legs?
15.
15. Okay.
12.
Gonna have her do a dex. Just have her do
Also,
a dex
Sean,
save
they're
against
saying
that.
to change the music in the chat for the more vibrant shenanigans.
Oh, because it's definitely like really somber music.
We need some
I would say, Benny Hill, maybe Yakety Sax.
I wish I had something like that we had license to go. Because all I have is like the battle music there, which I don't think is right. But I'll at least not have it be. This is probably not good music for this, but I'll leave it. Oh yeah, dex saving throw for her to avoid it. So she got a 14.
Shit.
So the axe slides through her legs. You hit it on the ground. It sort of tumbles in front of her. It definitely hits her, and it stumbles a little bit, but it's not really much to stop her. She falls to the ground.
Oh, good. So, but did she look at me?
She is looking at you as she gets up and just sort of like, what the fuck?
What
What are you playing at?
I'd like to wave at her and be like, "So, are you in the Lord an item?"
Scarlet, what are you doing? You're just dashing forward?
Yep, dashing forward, and I'm gonna try and hack at the harness to try and sever it from the car.
All right, give me an attack.
What Cal asked me to do, so that's what I'm doing.
I will say with disadvantage, because by the time you get forward, you're kind of dashing around the guy. He's going to get up, and he's going to immediately whip the reins.
Okay.
So this is going to determine if these horses just start running.
Okay. 16?
Okay. All right. So, Scarlet, you dash forward. You slice your blade down, and you cut through the harnesses for the left side of the horses. as soon as you did that, he whipped the rein, and all the horses start running. So there's this like absolute mayhem that happens at that point the way when multiple horses are attached to each other in this way, it's just sort of like this one horse is like slightly detached from them and like preventing them from doing a full movement away. As the horses start to clamber forward, the right line is good to go. They're just moving forward, but it's just like the back of the cart swerves back and forth.
Yep.
And I ask Wizwick and you to make dexterity saving throws as the cart is swerving back and forth against you two.
Scarlet!
Me too?
Why can't you just let my plan work?
Oh, god damn it. A 10.
I did good.
I didn't.
I got a unnatural 20 again.
Nice.
Okay, so Wizwick, you easily enough, you dodge out of the way. Scarlet,
I'm not on the cart yet. I've been trying to get on the cart the whole time.
Have you?
I mean, like, my goal was to move the crate onto the cart.
Oh. Well, you moved the crate. You meant to walk around and get on after you commanded him to, or suggested that he, So, I mean, in between that, Scarlet punched him, and you did cast the suggestion again, and after that, the guy got back on the cart, so you didn't really have an opportunity to get that moment. Scarlet, you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you're knocked back by the cart, and you go flying back into the fountain in the center of the courtyard. And the cart, it's moving, but in like a really disjointed way. Like they're not going to be able to make it far this way. They're going to have to stop. So they're trying. The guard who is steering it is sort of flustered, looking down at you as the cart swerves back and forth like a drag racing car, and the horses start to try to make their way through the front gatehouse of the Lord's manor, but they're just like they're starting to get confused as this one horse is just sort of by some loose harnesses attached, but not by any means attached in the proper way. Like it still has like sort of that like, you know how when double horses are on a carriage, they're attached by more than just the harnesses.
Right.
The harness is attached to the
harnesses
carriage.
are
Right.
that little brace.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's another brace that is keeping them together. So it's disorienting them, but it's not stopping them entirely. It's slowing them down for sure.
Is there like if like on the front of the cart, like in the driver's seat, is there like a handle or something that's there that I could in my head? This sounds really cool. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but I could like potentially grab the handle and like swing myself around to the other side.
It would be very hard to do since you just got knocked over. You could definitely try. The cart is moving. The cart is moving out.
Yep.
It's just moving at a slower pace than it normally.
Right. I mean, I guess the other option would be to try and run around and go on the other side, but I don't know what would be faster. Let's just see what happens. I want to try and swing around and look up.
All right, give me a acrobatics check with disadvantage because the cart is acrobatic as fuck.
Okay.
Wizwick,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Cal,
Nice.
upon hearing the cart freaking out, the dwarf is ignoring you entirely and rushing outside.
I just want to be clear. Where am I right now? What is my status of cart and box? And was I in the back of the cart, or
you were in the back of the cart? You were behind, Scarlet was in between you and the driver of the cart. Driver got in. Scarlet got knocked when the cart moved back. It just narrowly missed you, so you're about I'd say 20 feet from the cart right now as it's curving around the fountain to go outside. It's moving at half its normal speed because the horse is all messed up, but it is moving away.
So I got a 25 with disadvantage.
All right.
Roll a 19 and a 17.
So I'd say you aren't able to grab the side and the front, but you are able to you're like running on the side of it. Like you kick yourself off the ground, the dust goes flying, and you start chasing the cart as it's moving back and forth to get out, and you just jump forward, last ditch effort, and grab onto the back of the cart. So you're holding onto the back of the cart now, so you can slowly pull yourself in, and you will be in the cart.
Okay.
Wiswick, that's the last thing you see before there's anything you want to do.
Okay. Is there any way I can... Well, I have the crate right now. How many crates were left behind?
There were 2 crates left behind.
Okay. I'm obviously probably going to drop the crate that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to also drop the disguise.
Okay. And as you do that, it's literally right as the dwarven woman steps outside and is just like, fuck! As all these villagers, all the servants look up and they're just like, oh no.
And so I'm gonna move my movement, which is like 35 feet, so I can like pretty much catch up to the cart. Oh, 25 feet.
25.
Yeah, 25 feet.
Yeah, you'd be about 5 feet away from it as it's leaving, as Scarlet gets on the back of it.
Okay, and I'm gonna yell out to Scarlet. Wait, hold on. Has Scarlet ever seen my sock before? I forget. I don't think she has.
No, I don't think so.
She has not seen your magic socks.
I roll up one of the socks into a ball, and I yell to Scarlet, Scarlet, this is magic! Throw it in with the treasure! And I toss it, and I try and get it inside of the cart.
Okay, give me a ranged attack roll.
Oh no.
You losing your socks?
It's okay, because I just pull it through the other one and it comes right back.
That's true.
It's the whole point of them.
That's true.
I rolled a 2.
Okay, so it's like that situation when someone tries to throw a paper airplane and it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. Scarlet, you just managed to, like, as this thing's whipping around, you just managed to pull yourself on and fall into the cart and get yourself up, and you look behind you, you see Wiswick holding a sock in the air, running towards the cart, screaming what he says, "It's magic!" Throwing it up. What is that treasure? As he throws it, and it just goes like straight up in the air and falls down in front of him.
Throw better!
Scarlet, what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm on the cart. Can I like crawl forward and like topple into the front seat and then try and like leaning over the front seat, just kind of try and sever the remaining things that are holding the horses onto the cart?
So you won't be able to sever anything holding the harnesses holding the horses to the cart. You can try to pull the reins out of their hands and sever those, but that's not necessarily going to stop everything.
Yeah.
Gotta think quickly. Are you gonna get whipped off this thing?
Yes. Actually, I would like to. Where is? I would like to cast Earth Tremor.
Okay.
Down in front of the. I don't want the horses to fall into it. I want. I don't know if I can like place it. I want like the cart to get stuck.
Okay, so you can place it. So. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can cast it beneath the cart if you want.
Yeah.
It's going to slow the cart down, but it's not a strong enough spell that it's going to like dislodge the cart. I'd say because it's a creative use, I'll roll essentially like a saving throw for the cart to see if it gets damaged enough to like spring a wheel off or at least get it stuck.
Yeah.
Bend an axle on one of the wheels.
Okay. So it's a dexterity saving throw. 14. A dex of 14.
Cart fails its dexterity saving throw.
Nice.
So
that
as
would
you're
be 1d6 bludgeoning.
if it's on earth or stone, it becomes difficult terrain.
Yes. So the cart would slow down, but it also took the damage. I'll say, describe for me what this looks like.
All right, so Scarlet will she'll crawl to the front of the car, and she'll see the Lord's in the front seat, right? The Lord and
Yes.
and Wesley, the guard.
Lord Harrison and Wesley are in the front.
All right,
Harrington is kind of like as the cart's like, Harrington's
yeah.
like, to Honduras or the guardhouse. I don't know anymore.
All right, so seeing that she can't really reach the harness to sever it, she's going to then launch herself to the other side of the cart, to the right side of the cart, and she's just going to reach her hand down and cast Earth Tremor right under the cart where she is.
Yeah. All right, so what? Or I'll do it right now, chat. Fix the camera. So essentially, Scarlet, you notice that there's not much you can do save murder more people, and you don't want to do that. So you lean off the side of the cart as it's moving, and your hand just sort of trails across the cobblestone below as sort of magic sifts through your hands and digs into the earth, almost like this bright red magic seeps in between the stones, and suddenly you feel as the ground beneath the cart immediately starts to tremor and quake, and the stones start to uplift, and all of these different rocks and different problems shoot up and hit, and you notice that one of the back two wheels of the cart, one of them, the axle gets bent into it, and it just starts to kick up, and it kicks the cart up, and the other wheel sprockets off and shoots into the courtyard as the cart just lifts up to the side, and you notice the horses all fall over. They're freaking out. The Lord falls and hits his head on the ground. The guard is scattered to the side. All this gold and jewels and bread and other food items wrapped up and preserved all scatter across the courtyard. As you go flying yourself, give me an acrobatics check. But everyone's coming out at this point as you just hear just this whole cart goes splattering, and it hits against the side of the gatehouse, because they were just moving through the gatehouse, as everything is just scattered across the courtyard. What'd you get in your acrobatics check?
23.
You are able to smooth as ice, flip, do a double flip, and just do a 3-point landing.
Smooth as ice.
Smooth as ice. Ice is smooth. Have you ever slipped on ice?
You're as smooth as ice.
As she lands with grace. Thank you, Chad, for helping me out there.
Willing to sacrifice our love.
The Lord seems to have knocked his head against a stone and is unconscious.
Whoops.
That's my free suggestion.
The guard scattered, sort of skid across the stone. He's sort of slowly lifting himself at this point. The dwarven guard is up at the top of the steps now and is running down to join this sort of fray to figure out what's happening. Kieran, you're awake at this point.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to interrupt, but Kieran generally sleeps 10 to 2. When you said 1, I was like, how long is this taking?
I'd say, Kieran, you wake up at the loud smashing of this cart in the courtyard.
Does Kieran's window room face the front?
No, all your windows face the back, actually. So you'd have to go out into the courtyard to see.
Well, he would do that.
What are you all doing on my lawn?
Tiernan goes running off to the court as well at this point, kind of gives you one last sneer.
Come back when you can grow a real beard! But I'm also like, oh shit, I go out there with
Yeah. What would you all like to do at this point?
What is that guard doing?
He's clearly injured himself in the throw. And he's just like, ugh. What the hell are you all doing? What? He looks at the Wiswick. What do you care? The Lord does. What do you guys do?
Who's looking at me?
He looks to you, the guard that got thrown. Wesley.
Who are you? I just showed up here. You alright? You had a big tumble there.
Scarlet, what are you doing at this point?
I'm just where my 3-point landing was. I am just watching to see who makes the move, because I am not making the first move.
Okay. So the guard totally, he tries to pull his sword out, but like he must have broken one of his legs because he stumbles forward and drops it, and he can't really get himself up. You see the dwarven guard runs out and doesn't pull her weapon to try to do anything. She runs out and tries to help this guard, try to support him. Tiernan outside doesn't have his axe, so he can't do much because Cal is just leaning against his axe right now. He has it. And I'd say, Cal, you come out not too long after that.
Oh no! What happened, my lord?
You would notice coming out that the Lord is just laying in the ground unconscious. He's not dead, but there is a little blood pouring from his forehead. Kieran, you would have come down at this point too, and you would notice just outside the door is Cal staring out into the courtyard.
I say loudly, Q, can you believe that the Lord had a cart accident? Looks like he might need some healing.
Of course, right away. Kieran briskly, over to the Lord Harrenson, drops to one knee to assess the injuries.
I would like to walk out after him casually, almost saunteringly, one might say, with the axe kind of just over my shoulder casually. And I just want to like walk up to Tiernan and like bip him on the shoulder with the haft and just like hand it to him. Be like, oh, I think you dropped this.
The dwarvish woman looks up kind of after getting to her compatriot. Who the fuck are all of you?
I find that very rude. We are guests of the Lord Harrenson and are very concerned as to what just happened.
Well, why would you accost the Lord Harrenson in his cart?
We didn't accost him at all.
And that's when that soldier started like grasping. He's like,
Wesley,
that bitch hit me in the face. She punched me in the face.
Well, did you do anything rude? You may have done something wrong. I think my internet just stopped. Yep. If anyone on Twitch can hear me, I'm sorry. And I don't know what's going on.
Because he's hosting us right now.
All right, it's back.
They're back. Okay, good.
He's good.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on. The stream might have cut out.
It'll come back, I think.
Yep. Tim's back.
Okay. So is the stream up?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool. All right, so as this sort of tense moment is happening, everything's quiet in the courtyard. There's just the trickling of the fountain and the horses like neighing in pain as they're trying to get up, but the harnesses are keeping them down. It's very painful for the horses right now. You hear out in the courtyard the stomping of several town's guard heading towards this courtyard. It seems that the Lord the General got Wiswick's message, as suddenly there is about 15 town's guard that encircle the courtyard and just sort of surround everyone. Kieran, the Lord is he just got a really bad bash in the head, and he's essentially just unconscious from getting he has a concussion.
Gotcha. So assessing this, Kieran would cast Cure Wounds, first level, to repair any major damage.
Yep. So his eyes blink open after a few moments as the blood sort of heals and the wound, the little gash in his forehead closes, and he's just like, fuck.
Does Cure Wounds remove alcohol from one's blood?
No.
Okay.
I think
restoration.
Minor restoration does. Because most DMs treat it as poisoning and minor restoration.
Right.
Or lesser restoration.
Yeah. So Kieran would just kind of like, easy there, Lord Harrenson. Your cart took a spill. Sit up slowly.
This is why we don't drink and drive.
As the Lord gets up and he's like, I don't think I was driving.
Of course you were. This is your cart.
But he's just getting up and he's just like, are we in Honduras?
Yes, you made it.
As,
Can Wiswick get a second?
yeah.
Sorry. Minor illusioning my sock to look like a big ruby, and I'm gonna put it in a crate.
Okay.
Jesus
I
Christ.
see where he's going with this.
Yeah,
And
I see where he's going with it too.
as a player, I love what's happening.
So with the town guards, are there any officers that came over? Like Sergeant McClear,
yes.
Captain Domnall, or the general or his lieutenants?
Yes, actually, the general steps in after them. They as soon as they've encircled the space, you see Tiernan drops his axe. The dwarf is just sort of helping up. The dwarf sort of unhinges an axe from her waist and drops it. Is just helping her Wesley up off the ground. The general or the Lord is just sort of sitting up, holding his head, kind of holding in. He seems like he's nauseous from his encounter. As Kieran is just tapping him on the back. The general slowly walks in, mystical falcon on his shoulder, jet hanging from his arm that he's holding out. He's like, well. Not your best evening, Lord Harrington. You look like shit. And the Lord's just realizing what's happening.
Ooh, he's in trouble.
And he immediately vomits. He's leering at the Lord General. He's just and just pukes into his own lap. He's just never looked worse.
I'd like to kind of step out of the crowd and make myself. I don't want to say anything or do anything yet, but I want to make sure that the general sees me in my
Without your shirt on.
shirtless barefoot glory. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cal, you're definitely still in whatever you were sleeping in.
Yeah, which if Cal's anything like me, pants.
Yeah. So Cal's just wearing his pants, shirtless, 2 rapiers.
Yeah.
The Lord looks to each, or the general looks to each of you. First looks to his guards, says, "The rest is men. I'll bring him personally to the guardhouse." He spots over to Wiswick. "I thank you for alerting me to this nobleman's transgressions against all crowns and his betrayal of his people. He will suffer greatly for it, that is for sure." And the general has this. It's not this stolidness. It's very much. He's very much enjoying this. He's got a slight smirk on his face as his guards approach, grab and bind in manacles Wesley, Egret, and Tiernan. And then he personally goes up, bringing 2 guards with him. He nods to Kieran and sort of gives him a head to step away. As the guards lift the Lord up, and he just gets real close to his face. "You could have just walked away, but you had to try and steal everything. This is far worse for you. Come, bring them to the guardhouse."
If is he walking away with them?
No, he's standing behind, looking to each of you.
I'd like to give him a smirk, like a self-satisfied smirk,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like a gracious nod of the head kind of thing, you know? Like by the way, what I'm trying to do is convey, look how much of an asset we are.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying, yeah.
Like it's kind of like you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know exactly what you mean. Just sort of like a...
Yeah.
Wiswick takes off his sleeping cap, licks his hands, licks back his hair.
Wiswick, I will say you are able to slip one of the socks into one of the chests. I mean, they're all kind of spilled over, so you can definitely get it in there. And the general sort of signals to the remaining troops in the area to clean up the cart. And you do notice one of them closes it down. and your sock is in there.
Beautiful.
Can I try and just like step back inconspicuous?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not very many places to go. It's a fairly well lit courtyard.
Do you wiggle your shoulders while you do it like that?
That's just a
like
circle.
that.
Ah,
That's
very
how Scarlet gets it done.
inconspicuous.
Yeah.
This is how I get my stealth roll so high.
Yeah, exactly. It's all on the shoulder.
The general turns to each of you, sort of as you convene, noticing Scarlet kind of trying to stay out of sight. He doesn't say anything about that or look to you, Scarlet. He peers over, but then looks back to the rest of you. He looks down at Wiswick. I thank you for your message in stopping this egregious criminal from stealing from his own people.
Yes, it was my pleasure. Anything I can do to help.
Absolutely. You all did a wonderful job.
I nudged Kieran in the calf with my foot. Anything we could do to help, General?
Yes. Well, this is certainly a good sign of your support and potential loyalty. Stopping this man, this worm, coward, from fleeing. I would like to speak with you on the morrow. This, combined with what I've learned from each of you today, I believe we may be able to work some things out. I would particularly like to speak with you, Scarlet, about some. As he looks over to you, as you're. There'll be much for us. Well, about how you operate. What that means for any. And he looks to Cal. Future endeavors we have together. This will go a long way. Thank you. I'm sure you all need your rest. My guards will clean up this mess, and Lord Hanson will be punished for his crimes. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Cal gives a bow as if ending a performance. Like a big, thank you kind of a thing, you know? And says, on the morrow then, General.
On the morrow. You see he holds his hand out and jet flings off and lands on Wiswick's arm. Get your rest. And then he retires from the courtyard as the guardsmen start to clean up the mess, start to clean up the horses. I would say they also then, you notice the guards start to go to arrest the servants as well. And take them away as well. So they've arrested Wesley, Tiernan, and Egret, Lord Harrison, and the 6 servants. At first the 4 servants, and then after all of this has happened, you notice out at the top of the steps, 2 other servants come out. They have jewels and diamonds and things hanging out of their pockets as they seemingly. Is it me?
It's gone now.
Okay. Sorry. As these, they seemingly get away from the fate of their companions. What would you like to do? You're left alone. You could easily just go back to sleep.
I would like to go back to sleep because nobody lets the rogue sleep.
I'd like to check in with Kieran, and if Wiswick is not going to bed, Wiswick.
Well, so I would have imagined Kieran, as the group turns to go back, leans over to Cal and is like, mind filling me in on what just happened here?
Yes. I awoke to find the Lord stealing most of the money and food from the treasury coffers. I felt that wasn't quite the right thing for him to be doing, and I saw it as an opportunity for us to maybe impress the general. So figured we would intervene. I had Scarlet do some, stealthery, and Wiswick was awake too. No, he helped a lot. Actually, he was doing. Actually, I wasn't actually there. I don't know what quite happened, but I distracted the guards.
Of course.
But it sounded like he did a lot.
You didn't wake me. Why?
I thought we were pressed for time, and I woke
Kieran's feeling left out.
Wiswick to send a message originally, and then I hoped that we could resolve this without it being quite a row, kerfuffle.
Well,
I don't know.
including Wiswick was your first mistake then.
No, he sent the message. That's what I needed it to. I needed Jet to send the message.
Of course, that's fair.
I didn't wake you because there wasn't time, but I'm sorry.
I literally know a spell that I can command people with. So.
Well, I wasn't think. I don't think in terms of magic. Okay, I was thinking. I'm not good at sneaking, but we know someone who is, so I had her sneak around. I forgot about the whole you could just be like, stop.
Just imagining this as as the guards are cleaning things up, and this is the last shot of the scene, and it pulls back to a wide shot of the courtyard as
and it's just a mess.
Yeah, it's just a mess, and there's just stones everywhere. And the horses are in pain. The guards are trying to lift them up, and they're dragging them away as you two are bickering. In the
these poor horses have to get put down.
But you retire back into the hall, which feels strange. Going back into the hall that you've been staying in because you're alone in there.
Yeah, it's our hall now.
It's been fully most of anything of worth from inside is outside, but there's those two servants who are kind of panicking in the middle of the great hall, kind of trying to hide all the pearl necklaces and stuff in their pockets as you walk in.
I just nod at him and keep walking.
And then they're just
Consider it your bonus.
It's a severance pay, I'd imagine.
They look to each other let's get the fuck out of here. So yeah, you can go back to sleep if you want. There's not much else for you to do tonight unless there's something you all want to talk about.
I'm going to sleep.
Wiswick is going to go into Scarlet's.
Oh my god!
Scarlet, I'll say you had just put your daggers away. You had just gotten back into under the warm sheets, and you sit for a second. You think, "Oh, Timber's gone," and then you hear a banging on the door that sounds suspiciously low on the door.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, I pick up a dagger on the way out, and I open the door.
What do you want?
Just let me in for a second. Good work today, please.
Oh, step back and just close the door.
Okay.
After he comes in.
Wiswick is in his pajamas, a big fluffy wool onesie, and he's got the
Wiswick,
sock.
what do you want?
He's got the sock in his hand. He says, "I just want to say thank you. I got you something from the whole kerfuffle. I think you and I both deserve this after all the work that we've been doing for this town." And he reaches his hand into the sock and pulls out what?
Okay, so I need you to give me a dexterity or a sleight of hand check.
Where'd my big dice go? Oh, 19 plus 3, 22.
Nice.
Okay.
And he will continue doing this for as long until he just pulls out the socks. It can't reach anything else.
Okay. So I would say, yeah. That's the way the business works. How long are you going to do this for?
Maybe like
I'd rather he
until
just
I have.
tilts the sock over and shakes it.
If that was possible, I would.
Yeah, it doesn't work
But-
that way.
I
just
think
like-
that
Yeah.
I'll probably do it about like 5 or 6 times
Mm-hmm.
until I have like a good little horde, like a little tiny
Yeah.
horde in front of me.
I mean, you'd only be able to do it so much before your little hands can't reach too far in.
Right, like I'm not gonna like its range is
Yeah.
small, so I
I'd
imagine
say-
I can
I'd
only get
say-
a few things around it.
Yeah, I'd say you get, but there's a lot of gold in there. So I'd say, Wiswick, you pull out, in total.
I'm just gonna keep pulling out.
Yeah.
Pulling out.
In total,
It's a
in
recommended
total
method.
you get about 64 gold out of there. 64 gold, 37 silver, 98 copper, and
67 gold,
64 gold,
64 gold.
37 silver, 98 copper.
and 2 platinum.
Damn!
Ooh.
Platinum's isn't that worse than gold?
No, Electrium is the middle thingy.
Oh right, you're right. My bad.
But and then at the end you can't really reach anything else.
So I pull the sock out.
Okay. And you have a pile of coin and both your socks back.
And an angry rogue standing in front of you.
But I thought you'd be happy. Look at all this.
What are you doing? This is exactly what the Lord got arrested for. Stealing.
Yeah, but we did it smarter.
Smarter.
It's easier to hide.
Wiswick, what do I need to do to make you leave me alone so I can go to sleep? What do I need to say?
Thank you. And maybe you can have half of the gold.
Thank you. Please leave.
Alright, he takes his half and goes back to his room.
Okay.
He stuffs it in his onesie.
Oh god, of course Wiswick has a onesie. Alright, easy enough. You guys can split that amount of money. You can figure that out after stream.
Yep.
You guys easily enough get back to sleep. And the night goes on without any other issues. I guess Kieran, you're going to be pretty much awake for the rest of the night, but
Yeah.
which you can do what you wish. But you guys find your rest and you wake back up fairly early the next morning to the sounds of more dragging and pushing and pulling. As you investigate down and you see the same servants from the night before are dragging chests and stuff inside. Not the same chests. As you see the Amara, the Scythian captain, is standing down there ordering folks around. It seems as though they are probably moving the captains and the general into the Lord's manor.
So Kieran probably would have gone to the library to see if that had been packed up.
Yeah. So the library is fairly full still of books. There's not a lot of some. It seems like there was some ransacking potentially. Some books may have been taken, but it was a large enough library where they were not prioritizing bringing the books with them.
Gotcha. And he would be looking for books on the gods, the Morser conflict. I imagine he's kind of ransacking this library, just to start piling on books that he would find useful to our current situation, if you will.
Okay. Give me an investigation roll.
I don't remember if you were with us when we got the book of the Trinwall Valley that I copied the maps from.
Kieran was not. Or
Okay.
if he was, I think that's when he went invisible to go talk to the Archdruid. But I got a dirty 20 on that investigation.
Okay. And remind me of the topics you were looking for.
Chained Gods, the Morseer conflict. I guess from I would be looking for any books they have. Oh no, I guess the Morseer conflict. So yeah, those are really the two: Chained Gods, Morseer conflict.
Yeah, and it seems as though most of the books in this chamber are generally history books.
Right.
So you are able to find, I'd say, two books that seem the most useful out of the what you can get through in like an hour or so as you're looking about, or a couple hours. And you find a book, a book that's, well, actually, I guess you would really find it's two books that are part of a series. The first one is speculations on pre-Morseer conflict civilization, and then you find one that is categorization and knowledge of chained gods. They're very academic books. They're very much not pleasure reading. They're thick too. They're two very thick books that are part of a sort of like an encyclopedia series on the conflict.
Right.
But it's all you can find, those two.
Okay.
The rest of you, what would you like to do this morning?
I'll start with a nice round of calisthenics, and then I'll get dressed and go downstairs and rustle up some food.
Yeah, you have to pretty much find your own at this point. There's no servants, so you can go to the kitchen. It's sort of a mess at this point, but you can whip some stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cook for the whole party.
Okay, all right. Cal's gonna make breakfast.
Yeah.
So what are you making for everyone?
Eggs and bacon and beans.
Okay. Cal uses the better part of the morning making a very hearty breakfast for everyone. Scarlett, what would you like to do?
I would like to. I'm assuming I got my long rest this time.
Yes, everyone got their long rest.
Okay, good. I would like to kind of just obsessively unpack and repack my bag. Just wondering what the general could possibly want to talk about. I thought we had covered everything. So just kind of passing the time.
Okay. Wiswick, is there anything you'd like to do?
Wiswick is going to pack the plunder that he acquired into his bag, and he's gonna try and look through town for anybody who he could possibly buy more paper goods from.
Yeah, so walking about town, you notice that there are more people about than there has been in the last few days, the last week really. It's not a lot. It's just a spattering of folks. They're walking very slowly. They seem to be covering villagers from the medicine that you all brought. Some of them are trying to like repair their shops that have kind of fallen kind of in disarray because of the storm that hit, and there wasn't anyone there to take care of them. You are able to find someone that you can buy nicer paper and ink from. He's very sickly, seems to have been just recovered from the plague overnight. But yeah, you can get however much you can buy.
Okay, I'll get back to you on how much that is. But I think that maybe I'll give him a small tip. I'll add that into my calculations because I kind of feel pity for the guy. I'm glad for all the patronage. That it's probably the same person that I went to previously. So
it would be, and he doesn't get a lot of people buying fine paper and ink. So we'll see. You had a nice little chat with him too.
Yeah, and maybe like as I see people like getting back to their day-to-day lives, if I could like prestidigitate something like cleaning up the place, I'll just take my time and walk around town and kind of smile to myself, just happy, like having a nice morning, like seeing all the good that he's done for the town.
Absolutely. And it is a very nice day, and it is nice to see folks coming back to their businesses and their homes. As the sad music starts on the ambiance. Okay, so generally, when you come down, Cal is placing out. You're on the Lord's dais, all this lovely bacon, eggs, and beans. You're sort of in a strange way feasting at the Lord's table as no one is no one lives here yet. As you're watching these servants bringing in the general's belongings and his captains. And you see Amara is just sort of keeping an eye on you, but is more concerned with the servants' work.
So how's everyone this morning?
Well, I'm feeling great. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Lots of scrolls to decipher. Just happy that the town is back to normal and we've gotten rid of all of the terrible things that have been going on. I think that we're really on the up and up.
You know, I actually tend to agree. I feel really good about what happened last night. I think that we made the right call. Well, it was mostly my call, but we all helped.
Did we?
As you have this sort of... I would say at this point, the rest of you notice that Timber is gone.
Oh God, Timber's gone. What's going on here?
He left a note. He'll be back in 3 days.
What?
I don't know.
So
Just-
you get upset when we want to leave, but when he leaves, it's just nonchalant. I see how.
Cal says nothing, gives like a oh, and just looks at his breakfast. When Kira says that.
So this nice gesture by Cal has turned awkward. But you eat your breakfast. The general workers are moving everything in. As the day goes on, you notice that the general does not call you, though. You are kind of getting that radio silence that you got sort of that first time you were here.
All right, I'm gonna spend some time reading my book about languages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you generally, I guess, if Rizwick, you're doing what you're doing, Kieran, you were doing, you sort of have this day as downtime. If there's anything that you wanted to do, you are sort of, you're never given the general, someone coming up to me, the general is not calling you today. You're sort of on edge the entire day waiting for it.
Well, Kieran, I don't think would be too concerned with the general's summons. It's like, oh, cool, but I don't really give two shits. So he would actually go to Wiswick, see about those gems for the swamp, for Mandrick.
Yeah,
Wiswick.
I would imagine Wiswick's in his room studying all day. Kieran, that's a great idea. Here, take the gems. Just make sure you're careful. I don't want, I don't want things to go wrong. I'm not sure what has been going on with our friend over there. If you need any help, just let me know. Maybe I'll leave Jet with him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he would take it was like a diagram or something, a scroll,
yes,
depicting with their work on the portal to the Feywild. Take that material, and go to Wyla and Mandrick.
Okay.
Wyla,
Easy.
Wyla,
Wyla.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, I know you will. All right, so you're gonna go and bring those, and you're just trying to ask them about it or study it with them.
Yeah, just kind of be like, hey, I've got this stuff. This was the Archdruid Orlin was doing before. By the way, Mandrick, hope you're okay. General definitely knows about you. If you want to leave, here are your gems so you can get back to your swamp tower home.
Okay. So when you talk to them about it, you notice when you get to the longhouse that the people there are generally better. They're sitting up, they're eating, they're keeping food down. Some of them are walking around. Some of them have obviously been released because you see people about town. It's generally a much healthier vibe in the town imagine set. One thing that happens when you show the diagram to Mandrick, he turns to you and just, this is not the circle in the tower. Look at these inscriptions; they are different. This is the master's work. Yes, I notice his handwriting, but this is not the circle in the tower.
Can you tell what it might be used for?
I mean, if he was working on this when I to help me, then this might be a circle. This circle might be in Feywild, hopefully, or somewhere. You can only go to a circle. A circle doesn't take you anywhere.
Okay.
So he's sort of there's like kind of like a brief moment of excitement in his eyes, like, oh, a lead, almost like I can go home maybe, just because that's what he knows you all have been studying for somewhat for him. I don't know, I don't know, but it's not. The markings are all different. The ruins are different.
Violet, does this look like anything that you saw the Archdruid working on?
She examines it and sort of takes a few notes, looking at the handwriting. This is not familiar. This looks as if it was something from before. I never saw this. If it was in the tower, then perhaps it was before. He was working on this before he fell to the mask. It is hard to tell. It is certainly a transportation circle. Where it goes, only Olin knows. I would be very hesitant if you ever get the means to blindly take this portal.
Of course. I'm sorry, Mandrick. I had hoped this might help you. But hey, we've got some other stuff to look at. And then he takes out the other books, and is kind of like trying to get their help. While do you still have the Archdruid's journal? Did the general take it from you?
Unfortunately, I had to turn it over to the general when he spoke with me. I tried to keep it, but his captain investigated the entire longhouse and took anything they considered contraband.
He does seem like a hard man to say no to.
Yes. And perhaps his wood elf can read it. I do not know. They were here. They did not speak. They were frightening sights in their stoicness. They took the journal and they took some of our supplies, but not everything. Less than I had thought, which I appreciated. We were able to convince them to leave as much as we needed for the potions and to feed the sick. They had a lot of questions about loyalty. They do not seem to like me.
Sorry. Well, Mandrick, I don't know if you intended to stay around any longer, but here are the gemstones allowing you safe passage to the Bracken Hill Tower.
He takes them from you. I would very much like to get back to the dogs, but I would like to keep working with the Druidess. I might stay a little longer. I will leave as soon as I can. You are all welcome there, if you wish. The circle, if your wizard ever gets the means, I know he may have written it down, but if you need to come back, the circle will take you back there. And I will be waiting.
I'm sorry, what circle will take us back?
He tells you that the circle in the tower is a transportation circle, and that if Wiswick, essentially saying is if Wiswick wrote it down and you have it, and he ever learns the transportation circle spell, you can come back to the tower at will.
Gotcha. Good to know.
I will have tea waiting. The dogs will be happy to see your little friend.
Of course, he does have that way with people after the initial chaos settles.
Yes, but I believe perhaps Lila can help me more. I'll return soon, but I will be here for a little while.
Very well then. I'll leave you to. I have some studies of my own to attend to.
Absolutely. Okay. Is there anything else anyone would like to do on this sort of free downtime day?
Can I just, we don't need to RP it unless I find something, but I just want to like meander around town, just like asking if anybody's seen or heard of a man with burn scars on his face.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just give me a general investigation check.
18.
So, you know, you go up to a few people and they're all kind of grumpy and a little sick still, but they're working, and you get a few like, why would I know anything about that? And I'm sorry, I'm still too tired to think. Not many people know, like, it's a very specific thing to look for. There's some people who give you like backstories. They're just like, my cousin Douglas, he's got a burn mark across his face. He's up in Sivia. They're just sort of like nothing that seems concrete. It's mostly just sort of like if they know someone with a burn mark, and they're just telling you the story of their friend who accidentally fell into the hearth one New Dawn celebration.
Okay.
But nothing specific at this point.
Okay.
So you go through the day. Even though the belongings are being brought to the manor, you never see the general come to the manor. Amara is mainly present there. She informs you that you are allowed to stay for now. But she says don't expect that luxury to persist necessarily. And when she says that, she looks at you, Scarlet, particularly. And then sort of the night comes, second night, and you go to. Is there anything you'd like to do at night? Sort of a calm has come over the town. People are returning to work. Sort of an awkward day because the general does not call you all.
I'm just gonna keep working on my Sylvan, which I believe is what I was learning.
Yes, it is. I gave you a certain amount of times that you well, maybe we can talk about that after stream, but
if I wrote it down, it's not organized, so it's somewhere.
Yeah. So it seems as though there's no respite for our travelers here, as you rest your heads this night feeling kind of semi-accomplished. You know, you saved the town coffers. You sort of had a day to yourselves, which you haven't had in a while, that wasn't on the road. And then, as sleep takes most of you, hour into sleep, 2 hours and you hear commotion in the city. Hear not necessarily blood-curdling screams, but you hear shouts in the distance, commotion outside. For anyone who's awake and steps out, either looking out one of the windows or something like that, in the distance, in the circle of the market, actually the circle of the ash, you see bright orange flames. There seems to be some commotion happening. There's a fire of some kind. You guys keep waking up in the middle of the night to fires, but there is a disturbance in the city. What do you do? We're not gonna get into a whole fire encounter since it's already 10 o'clock, but we're gonna do the first beginning of it, and you guys are going to come back. Next thing, it's the manor is dead silent because there's no one in the manor but you. All you can hear is the occasional shouting in the distance, a scream here and there, and you can see a fire in the distance, just like sort of a smoke plume that's lit up by the flames beneath it.
I'm gonna try and see how big this fire is.
It's a large fire.
Multiple buildings, one building.
At least a cluster of buildings. You don't know if it's more than one.
Huron is suiting up and heading out.
Okay.
Pro it too.
Yep, same.
Okay. So as you make your way through the city streets, you notice people running to and from, sort of some people outside of their homes. There's still not a lot of people who are completely free of the illness, just like sort of holding each other, looking at the flames in the distance, very much like what people do even nowadays when there's a fire somewhere, in their sleeping clothes, their sleep shirts. And you make your way. It's very tense. It's a sleep shirt. It's very tense as you're moving through the narrow passageway between the circle of the hearth and the circle of the ash. And when you get into the courtyard, you can see people running to and fro. And at this point is when you see that it's not just a fire, as you see there are people running towards you as if away from something. You see Wyla standing at the exit of the longhouse looking out as she's shouting inside for McClear. As you see just across the courtyard, the gates of the city have been taken off their hinges. You see the cluster of buildings around the gate are lit up and flaming. Some of the trees, because this is a more decorated courtyard, since it's the Druidic courtyard, the trees are lit up all around the gate. As you see in a sort of formation moving forward, at least about 8 or 10. You're not sure until you get closer. What appear to be bandits. As the few people close to them are getting attacked by them, you see there are 2 standing on the ends that are kind of standing up and firing arrows into the crowd as these bandits are just starting to just go raid, essentially, into the courtyard. You've just entered the courtyard. They're on the opposite side. People are running towards you. They're running past you. There's not so many of them that it's like a stampede. You see some of the people are being kind of led out the back of the longhouse of the Druids by McClear and the Satyr. We're not going to get into the whole thing, but what do you want to do right away?
Are there any guards or anyone of authority around other than McClear?
McClear is the only authority. There are a very handful of guards. There's maybe 4 guards. They're moving towards the bandits. They're pushing people past to get them to go behind them. They're very frightened because there's only 4 of them right now. McClear is taking them out, taking the villagers out the back. There's at least 1 guard with McClear. You imagine this is all happening. This is only probably 12 seconds since this all started. You're first responders, essentially.
Yeah.
There's likely more guards to come in the future, but you are the first ones on the scene.
Wiswick, send Jet, tell the general what is happening. And I'll draw my swords and join the line of guards moving towards the bandits.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
So as Jet flaps off into the distance with a very quickly scrawled scroll from Wiswick, Cal, you step forward. You step in the middle between the 2 sets of guards. Scarlet, you step up. You all kind of come forward as you see these bandits They're starting to eye you now as they see them cut down a few villagers as they're coming towards you. And that is where we're going to end tonight. These bandits lit by the flames, your faces lit by the flames, as we'll get into that in the next session.
Oh boy.
Huzzah!
Some bandit attacks.
I wonder if these are the same ones.
I really did not expect you to stop Harrison's escape. I also wasn't sure if you were even going to stop him when you came down and talked to him. I thought you might just sort of be like, well, you're an asshole, and go to bed. That's
why
post-stream chat.
That took me much longer than I normally... Sorry, yeah, post-stream. All right, here we go.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. I know we had a few technical issues with tonight. We'll be at full crew next week with Alex coming back. Hopefully you had a great time on the West Coast. Thank you for joining us. Really lively chat. It was excellent. We love you all. Welcome. Thank you for staying with us in Paradise.
Yes.
Good night.
Episode 7 and 8 are out in podcast form now. Wherever podcasts
check us out wherever you watch podcasts. Listen to podcasts.